guys, so today we're going to be testing out a new eyeshadow primer, and the one that I have is the Smashbox one. This one is called the Photo Finish Lid Primer. And so what I want to do is I of course want to put it up against my holy grail eyeshadow primer, which if you're new is my MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. I find that this one just works perfectly for the kind of shadows that I like to use, which is colorful shadows obviously. Unless you're new. I like colorful shadows a lot, and that's basically what I use. So the thing about this is though that I find the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre to be a little bit too yellow tone, and I keep trying to find a new primer that's not going to be as yellow, because I find that it kind of changes the shadows a little bit. The ones that I do use, especially if I work with blues and such, they end up looking not so blue in the end. So I'm kind of hoping that this is going to solve that problem. So I first saw, who did I see use this first? I think it was Betty Jean that was talking about this so much. I will link her up in the corner if you have not checked her out. And then I saw some other ones of my friends also use this, and it just got me so curious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime one eye with the Smashbox, one eye with the MAC Paint Pot. Then we're going to do an eye look, and then we're going to kind of compare how the colors lay on top of it and stuff like that. And I'll kind of just talk through my thoughts while we're doing this. So that is what we're going to do. So the Smashbox one comes with a wand, so I guess I will put this on my good eye because, you know, that way I'll be able to know for sure if it's doing its job. So we're gonna go ahead and just blend this out. And it definitely does have a little bit of pigmentation to it, which I like. I do like eyeshadow primers that kind of cancel out any kind of discoloration I might have on my eyelids. And so far I like that. I do feel like I need to go in with a little bit more though, just to make sure I get everything covered here. And I did get mine in the shade Light, if I didn't already say that. I think this is the lightest shade they had. At least they didn't have any other ones available on Sephora when I made my order. I think it comes in a white as well, but I prefer one that's more of like a skin color. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot on the other side here. So I definitely find that my MAC Paint Pot is way thicker in formula, which I don't really know if I like that or if I don't like that, to be honest, but I just really like how the shadows lay on top of my MAC Paint Pot. So far, just kind of looking at this, I do feel like my MAC Paint Pot is a little bit just lighter and more yellow than the Smashbox one. The Smashbox one really just looks like my skin tone, which is perfect, and that's what I want in my eyeshadow primer. I don't want like a super light base. So I'm gonna go ahead and use two different palettes today. I don't even know if these are going to work together. I just pulled them out because I haven't played with them in a while. So this is the Strobe Cosmetics Creepy Cute palette. I thought trying to use some pastels would be a good way to test out these eyeshadow primers. I also want to use my Pinky Rose Exotic Peacock palette, which looks like this. It's absolutely beautiful. I thought using some blues could be, you know, a good way to test this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Cold Shoulder, which is the pastel blue in this palette. Now, I love this palette, if you don't already know. I know I haven't used this a lot lately, but I don't know. I just get so many palettes and stuff just kind of, you know, gets forgotten, which is really sad. Now, I will say normally when working with blues, especially knowing I'm probably going to deepen this up with a dark blue in my outer corner, I would go in with the dark blue first, but since we are testing out the eyeshadow primer, I want to see just kind of how they work and how they layer on top of the different primers. So if things do get a little bit patchy in the outer corner, I'm definitely expecting that, and that's not going to be a surprise. So I'm just going to basically pack this color into my crease now. This is the Smashbox side. I'm just going to be very heavy-handed with this here. And this brush is way too big for my liking, but I'm leaving tomorrow and I'm packing everything, and I've basically packed all the makeup that I want to bring. So all I have left now is the brushes that I don't really like and use on a daily basis. So that's not ideal, but already I can see that the Smashbox one is showing up a lot brighter and just more pigmented and more vibrant. Wow, that's a huge difference. I am so surprised right now. I was not expecting that at all. Usually on my MAC side, all the shadows are just laying and grabbing onto my primer much better than any other primer that I've tried, but holy crap, what a difference. So I definitely feel like the color is showing up more true to color on the Smashbox side than on the MAC Paint Pot side. It's definitely kind of just muting down the color a little bit. It's still nice and vibrant, but it's not as pastel and bright as it is on this side right here. So that is super interesting. Wow, I was not expecting that at all. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into, what do I want to use to deepen this up with? I think I'm just gonna go in with a dark blue just to see how this goes. So I'm gonna take Truth in the other palette here. And like I said, I'm fully expecting this to probably get a little bit patchy here. So let's first go in on the Smashbox side here. I'm just going to really pack this in the outer corner. And I can already tell that this is going to probably be patchy, but then again, I know that this shadow does that, so not really surprised. I'm probably going to go in with a dark blue shimmer after I'm done with this, but I mean, this is not laying down very nicely at all. You can see there's a very sharp line right in my crease here where the two colors kind of meet. And that is not looking the best. So let me just see what happens on this side now. I'm fully expecting this to do the same thing though. But you never know, it might not. That's why it's so interesting to kind of go side by side when testing out new primers, because I find that it's a way better way to really see what's going on, because if you're using the same primer on both eyes, you don't really know what's happening and how it compares to what you have in your collection already. But I mean, obviously this is just not really that great of a shadow, which I mean, like I said, I expected that. I'm gonna try to go in with the other kind of dark blue in this palette, which is called Dreamer. I'm not expecting this to really, you know, perform any differently, but we're just gonna try it anyway and see what happens. This has more of a kind of purple undertone, which again, purples are also extremely hard to formulate. And usually I would have done this the other way around, going in with the darkest shade first to just avoid this, but I didn't because I wanted to see if the primers would make a difference here, which I mean they really do not, and I don't really think it looks any different on either side. I feel like both sides look pretty bad, and I don't know why I am so sloppy today and I'm getting fallout everywhere. Probably because I'm using brushes that I don't really like and I don't normally work with, but I'm gonna try to kind of wipe that away a little bit. So what should I do next? I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the blue shimmer in this palette, which is called Enchanted, and I'm gonna just put that in the outer corners of my eye here. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this with some Fix Plus, and I think that the shadow might not be dark enough to layer on top of this and cover everything up, or maybe it is. It just looked a little bit lighter in the pan here than what I already had on my eye, but I think this is fine. And this is more of a satin shade as well, so it'll be nice to kind of use this to blend it into my crease a bit. So this is not going to be like some kind of a crazy eye look. I'm really just testing out the primers at this point. So I mean, that definitely fixed all the patchiness that we had on the outer part of the eye here, which is usually how I tend to fix patchiness. I'll just go in with a shimmer of the same kind of color as the matte that I tried to deepen it up with, and it usually just fixes everything. I'm gonna go back into that cold shoulder shade that I used in the Creepy Cute palette, and I'm just gonna go ahead and bring this back a bit, just run this through my crease. So I definitely feel like the difference isn't as obvious now as it was when I first put down just the transition shade, but I can still see it just right where I'm trying to blend out the blue here. It's just not looking as vibrant as it is on this side, and it's almost turning the color into a little bit of a, not green, but I don't know. I just see a little bit of discoloration right here because of the undertone of the eyeshadow primer, whereas on this side it just looks really nice and bright and blue. So yeah, it's very interesting how just eyeshadow primers can do this. So I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna go into the Exotic Peacock palette again, and this is such a random eye look. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. I'm just kind of seeing a color and being like, I want that on my eyes. So I'm gonna go into Sultry, but first I'm actually going to prime underneath my eye as well, just because I want to see if there is a difference with this color as well. I don't usually do an under eye primer, but I want to do it just for the sake of, you know, the video. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this and run this underneath my eye, and then I'm going to go ahead and blend this out. And then I'll do the same on the other side with my paint pot, of course. And I feel like maybe I had a little bit of blue left on that brush because I kind of touched the outer edge here, so that eyeshadow primer is not looking the best, but oh well. What can you do? So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into one of the purple shadows here. Like I said, I'm gonna take Sultry. I guess it's more of a magenta, but I'm just going to pack that on the outer part of my lower lash line here with a small Luxie brush, which I actually like this brush, which is nice. And let's see how this is looking. So it's definitely coming off very true to color, or very true to pan, I should say. So let's go ahead and try this on the other side now. Now, like I said, there was a little bit of blue in that eyeshadow primer, so it might show up a bit darker on this side, but I mean, that's okay. As long as I know that's what's happening, it doesn't bother me. But it doesn't seem to be sticking as well, actually, on my MAC paint pot side, which this is so weird to me, because it has been my holy grail eyeshadow primer for so long that now I'm literally questioning my whole life and every life choice that I've ever made, because I'm just so surprised right now. Like, see how it's not really sticking on the outer corner here as much as it is on this side? I don't even know what to say. I don't know how I feel about this. What do I want to do? Do I want to use the Creepy Cute palette again? Is there any shade in this that would look good on my lower lash line? What if I go into this? Might that muddy up a little bit? I don't think it will. I think it's just going to create a bit of a blue. So let's go into Creep It Real, and I'm going to put that on the outer part of my lower lash line here. Did I say outer part? I meant inner part. Just going to pack this on very heavily here. And I love this palette. I know I've said that, but I just think it's such a good quality palette, and the shadows just perform amazingly for being bright pastels. They really do show up like bright pastels too. I'm not able to really tell much of a difference in the eyeshadow primers when using this color though. I feel like it's showing up pretty bright on both sides. So I think this is really pretty. I am gonna go in, I wanna go in with something a little bit darker in my outer corners. I'm gonna find some kind of a dark blue shimmer, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I have an idea. I'm actually gonna use one of my ColourPop Super Shock shadows, which I haven't used in such a long time. Ooh, this might be a little bit dried out. It's got cracks in it, which is probably why. Actually, no, that looks really nice. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this and just try to deepen up the outer parts of my eye here. And I'm just gonna try to use this dry, at least at first, because I am gonna use it kind of like a matte here. So I feel like this is doing exactly what I wanted to do. Just adds a little bit more dimension here. Okay, I think I'm gonna call this good, and then right now I'm like, I just want to use everything that I haven't used in a while. So let me go ahead and maybe take one of my Pat McGrath shimmers. This is the only palette that I have from Pat McGrath. It's an all shimmer palette, which is why I just don't really tend to reach for it very often. So I'm tempted to go in with the kind of gold shade. Would gold would look good with this look? I feel like it might look good with this look. You know what, I'm gonna take a little bit more of that dark blue here as well and just deepen up the outer corners even more. I don't know, I just feel like using like a bunch of layers on my eye today. Don't judge me. So I'm just gonna take a little bit more of this and just put this on my outer corner. Not that I'm really expecting it to make much of a difference, but I just want it on my eye, and I'm getting a ton of fallout, which I should have expected that because I always use glitter glue with these shadows. I'm literally making such a mess today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm gonna go ahead and take some of my Too Faced glitter glue here, and I'm going to put that on the rest of my lid, and then I'm gonna dip into one of the gold shadows in the Pat McGrath palette. You would think normally I would go with some kind of a silver with this, since I'm using mostly cool tones on my eyes, but I kind of want to just mix them. And I really like gold shimmers. I know a lot of people don't really tend to use them that often, but I really like gold, so I'm just going to take that same brush here, and I'm just going to pack that on the whole lid here basically. And then I'm also going to take a little bit of this blue right here. I'm just using everything. I'm so sorry. I know I'm not expecting anybody to want to recreate this look, so I'm just going to go ham because this is all about the eyeshadow primer. I'm just going to use that to sort of blend these two together, and I'm also going to create a bit of a diagonal line here. So I think this is where I want to leave it with the shadows. It's not my favorite look that I've ever done, but I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my eyes, and then I'll come back and we can talk a little bit more about this eyeshadow primer. Alright, so the final look is complete, and I like this a lot more now. I actually did kind of shush this up a little bit. So in my inner corner, I went back into my Pat McGrath palette, and I used this shadow right here just to kind of tie in the gold with the turquoise that I have on the lower lash line. And then I also used, obviously, some mascara, but on the inner part here where I had the pastel, I used this one by ColourPop. This is Kiss and Teal, and I also used the Zulu eyeliner, also by ColourPop. And then for lips, I am using You Better Work by Jeffree Star, and I think that this look came together pretty nicely. So as for my thoughts on this eyeshadow primer, I'm honestly so blown away, but again, this is just a first impression, so I'll for sure like have better thoughts on this down the line. I need to play with this more, so this is just a first impression, but so far I really like this primer, and I'm so happy that I bought this because the last primers that I've tried have kind of been duds. So far I'm really happy with it. I can't wait to play with this more and kind of do more like side-by-side comparisons so I have a better idea of how I like this. But so far, very impressed. I think this is an amazing eyeshadow primer, and if you tried this, let me know. Also, let me know if you have tried both of these primers. I would love to know if anybody else has, you know, compared these two and what do you feel about them, because I've liked my MAC paint pot now for so long, but I don't know why I was for some reason having a hard time with it today. Not that I was having a hard time with it, but I was just having an easier time with this and I was not expecting that at all. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy I bought this, and I will of course link it down below if you want to go check it out for yourself. But yeah, that's going to sum up today's video. If you want to see some other first impression videos that I've made, I will pop some up on the screen so you can watch those if you want to. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.